Okay, welcome to New Voice Live. I think this is our, somebody help me out here, 17th episode live stream. So we are at this, almost this is our natural home. It's taken us a while to get here, but this is actually a fairly big show for us because all of our speeches and all of our roles and all of our table topics were filled in advance. That is definitely a sign that we're in a good place. And it takes a while to get here. You have to have members who are going to be committed to coming. You got to have folks who want to participate and be part of this. So the fact that we're able to fill out a full roster for me is a very big sign. Also a reflection of the fact that we've got a growing membership base. We have close to 20 folks now who are part of New Voice Live. And given the fact that we kind of just started out, this is our 17th episode, I'm feeling pretty good. I think Cailley and Sean and I all collectively are feeling good that we can make this thing into something really cool. So while we're at just shy of 20, I would love to have a place and time where we have 100 plus, maybe more, and we're live streaming to a crowd on YouTube. So that would be the dream. That would be the fun place for all of us to get to and talk about the tightrope of public speaking. The bigger the audience, the higher the tightrope. So that's my goal. I think that's where Cailley and Sean are focused on as well. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're going. But as I said a few weeks ago, now's the time for us to dig in and start to get this audience even bigger. So start spreading the word. I'm glad you're participating, glad you're here. But we want more people. So get your friends in, let them know what's going on, and let them know that it's a really cool group of people too. We're creating, I think, something special here as far as the community too. Okay, with that said, let me get ourselves into the show. We've got Alex tonight, who's our first speaker. Alex, are you there? Let me see if we can get Alex up on the screen for us.
Right here. Thank you so much. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Alex.
Happy Friday. The word of the day, Friday. All right.
You get a Homer pop-up to that. And I got to find you on there you are. All right, Alex, let's get you on the screen. So, Alex, you are doing your second speech tonight, which is Organizer Speech, part of the Competent Communicator Manual. And the title of your speech are Words Are Windows or They're Walls. So you've got 4 minutes. Let me get you started on the clock. Take it away.
Thank you. I feel so sentenced by your words. I feel so judged and sent away. Before I go, I gotta know, is that what you mean to say? Before I rise to my defense, before I speak in hurt or fear, before I build that wall of words, tell me, did I really hear? Words are windows or they're walls. They sentence us or set us free. When I speak and when I hear, let the love light shine through me. These are the first few stanzas of a poem by the American poet Ruth Bibermeyer. It was a favorite of the man who invented nonviolent communication or compassionate communication. His name was Marshall Rosenberg. Marshall Rosenberg was born in 1934. I believe he's from Chicago originally, died recently in 2015. He's an American psychologist who wanted to know, why is there violence? Why do we speak to each other so violently? Does it have to be this way? And he questioned himself and others about that. And he finally came to an understanding that if we look through the words, if we look through the feelings, past the feelings, into the actual emotions and needs, then we might be able to come to a more compassionate form or a nonviolent form of communication. So what is violent communication then? Well, violent communication is all of the stuff that we hear about, the mansplaining, the blaming and shaming, all of the things that bring judgment against people. It's essentially a question of who is right and who is wrong. So if you're right, well, then you're okay. And if you're wrong, well, then to the dustbin with you then. So bullying, belittling, criticizing, carping, incessantly needling, all of the so-called, oh, it's just a joke. No, it's not. It's violent communication. And what is nonviolent communication? Well, nonviolent communication is based on observation, mindful observation. So we can look at the Buddhist thought of right mindfulness and take in some of the notions of the righteous eightfold path in Buddhism, but particularly observation in a mindful, non-judgmental way. Look just to look, see just to see, sit just to sit, as Alan Watts would say. Then there's the question of feelings. And feelings are only the tip of the iceberg, aren't they? Feelings are merely a pointer to something a little bit more deep. Observations, feelings point to needs. What are the needs that are not being addressed by our feelings? You can feel this or that, but it's not going to get you anywhere unless you can identify your needs. And then lastly, you need a call to action. If you've observed, you've identified your feelings, you've identified your needs, well, now they're requests. And they're easier because the requests go to the deeper level, the level that we all share. Nonviolent communication is honesty, empathy, compassion. So here's an example. I see that you're not looking at me when I speak, and I have a need for the communication, the solid communication between us. Would you be willing to look at me? It would really, really help me and make me feel great. There's so much more to say. Unfortunately, I have a very short lease of time, but I will end with this. Words are windows or they're walls. They sentence us or set us free. When we speak and when we hear, let the love light shine through me. Thank you.
Great job, Alex. That was fantastic. And so now, as we always do here in the New Voice Live, we'd like to give you some feedback. So let's get Sean to please put in the chat our speaker evaluation form. So the audience members would please click on the link there, fill out the evaluation form for Alex, and then we'll have a formal evaluation later on from, I believe it's Devika. Is that correct? I think so. So I'll put a couple minutes on the clock, and please give Alex your feedback.
Thank you, Henry, and thank you, everyone.
everyone. It is, as I said, time for our formal evaluation. So let me get Devika on our screen with us. Devika, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, welcome. And let me then also get our speaker of the evening on the screen. Alex, are you there? All right, Devika, you've got 3 minutes for your evaluation. Please take it away.
Sure, thanks. Alex, words are windows or they are walls? First of all, let me say that's a beautiful caption. And you took off right from there. Just for everyone, I think I just Googled for the objectives of speech, CC speech number 2, which are as follows. The first is the outline should be appropriate and easy to follow. Second is the message should be clear, and third is that there should be a clear transition. So I think you've really got full marks, so to say, in all three objectives. You went right into the beginning, which was very clear. You started with the poem, which gave us a clear insight into the gist of the topic, which was coming, the description of the topic. You took us through the different types of communication, which is violent and non-violent. Violent, you told very clearly that it is mostly judgmental. Who decides what's right, what's wrong? Examples like bullying. Non-violent communication, which is basically mindful observance. Also giving good examples like the way of the Buddhists, honesty, empathy. And then you took us through the path, so to say, that we should follow, which is just feelings and nothing else, and then communicating needs, and also then the call to action. So as I said, the objectives are very clear, the outline was very clear, and there was a lot of clarity to the message throughout. You transitioned very clearly from one point to the other and one message to the other. um, so I think everybody could understand and grasp the message very clearly. uh, so I really did not think with anything that could be improved. But if at all I have to, if I'm forced to say something which can be improved, I think uh, the endings of your sentences could be a little more clear. Maybe it's the mic, I don't know, but I think you had a very strong beginning and also the end, but I just couldn't catch the last few words of the entire speech. So maybe that could be improved, but otherwise I guess it was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yes, great job, Devika there. And let me also echo that, for me, this is one of the reasons why we're here is we don't get to hear ourselves on the other side. And so small things like microphones or echoes in a room that we can't tell, the audience can certainly tell. And so for us, this is a way for us to get that feedback. So I absolutely love the fact that you're paying attention to those kinds of details, like actually what does somebody sound like on a microphone or on a speaker. So kudos to that evaluation. Kudos to you as well, Alex. Great job by both of you. With that being said, why don't we move back to our next speaker, and that is going to be Bas. Let me get Bas on the screen here. Bear with me a second. And Bas, let's get Bas here. Sorry, folks, as I said, always a one-man show. Bas, you there?
Yes.
Fantastic. So Bas, welcome to the club. This is your icebreaker. Looking forward to learning about you, where you're from, and introducing yourself to our club. So you've got 4 minutes on the clock. I'll let you take it away now.
Thanks, Henry, and hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to finally become a member of this great club. My name is Bas Ali. I'm from Toronto. Baz is the short form of my full name, which is Basim. And in Arabic, Basim is the person who smiles. And probably that's why always you see me smiling, because I remember when I was a kid, every time I cry, my mother will tell me, Basim, your name is Basim. You are supposed to smile, not cry. I was born in Dubai, definitely a great place. I actually was born in a city called Abu Dhabi, and Abu Dhabi is the capital of a country called United Arab Emirates. And when I moved to Canada 10 years ago, I mentioned Abu Dhabi. No one seems to know Abu Dhabi that much. So that's why I always say I was born in Dubai. So Dubai is the one of the main famous cities in United Arab Emirates. But just for you to know that it's the city and the country is UAE, or United Arab Emirates. I'm married with 3 kids. All are girls. They keep me busy. And my wife doesn't like to hear the comment when someone says, "Oh my God, you have 3 girls. You look so young." She says, "No, he's not young. He's approaching his 40s." Let me tell you a little bit about what I do. So I've been in my career for 15 years. I'm an IT sales professional. I love sales. I love speaking to clients, and I try to be a good salesperson, and I believe a good salesperson is a person who listens more than speaks. We are very much excited about the products and the things that we can do, but sometimes people need someone to listen to them, and listen to them in a true way, so that you can help them. Sometimes they don't need help. Sometimes, again, they just need someone to listen. So that's what I'm trying to do in my career, is to listen more. And then at the end of the day, if I think I have a solution that can help them, then I'll propose it. Otherwise, I'll be frank with them. Maybe we cannot work with them this time. Maybe next time we have something else. But being open, transparent with customers um, is something that helped me along the way. I'm in the technology business, so I was working for IBM for 8 years, and last year I wanted to change and do something different. That's why I joined another company called Zebra Technologies. So my hat, if you can see, my hat has IBM, and my shirt has a Zebra logo, which is my new company. So carrying both companies here. Last but not least, I want to speak about my Toastmaster journey. I remember 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I came to my wife and I said, I cannot imagine if there is a group of people where can I go and safely try to practice my public speaking skills. And she said, which planet do you live in? There is something called Toastmasters. And I kid you not, I've never heard of Toastmasters before. And it was everything I was hoping to find. A great group of people where I can safely practice my public speaking, which is, all of you know, is one of the things that is very fearful for many people. And this is why I'm very excited to be in this club. And I cannot thank enough Henry and Cailley, Sean, for all the great work that they are doing. Public speaking and the fear of public speaking is a serious one. And for having such great individuals who are helping others to overcome it is a great thing. Again, it's my pleasure to be here, and hopefully I can continue to become a member and give speeches to this great club. Thank you.
That was fantastic. That was a great speech. I love the fact that we have you from a foreign country, right? This for me is like the ultimate, where we've got people all over the world who are now members. We could only do that online. So we're equally as grateful to have you here. Thanks for the kind words. And as always now, it's time for the audience to take it away. Sean, would you please put the speaker feedback form in the chat, and we'll let folks give you your feedback on that wonderful speech. 2 minutes on the clock, folks. welcome back, everyone. Time for our formal evaluation for the evening. So let us get Jorge on the screen. Jorge, you there?
I am here. Thank you.
All right. Jorge, you have 3 minutes for your evaluation, so I'll let you take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Club members, if there is or are any guests, welcome. Bas, I congratulate you on your icebreaker. Well done. So my role this evening will be to give you some key aspects that I enjoyed about your speech, and also hopefully find something that I can suggest you could improve next time you do another speech. Overall, great speech. I mean, I can only remember the first time I did this speech, I could barely last a minute or so. You did very well. You used the entire time that you had to give your speech, which is pretty awesome. Keep it up. So, starting with the first thing that I liked, I'm gonna say it's that you shared some personal details. I think that is great, especially for the icebreaker. Is something very personal. It's something that you share with others. In this instance, the club members, to get to know you like on a personal level, if you will. The second thing that I liked is the humor. You made some type of joke at the beginning about your age. That's awesome. That even helps if in my opinion, if the audience is feeling a little bit not engaged or like doesn't know you too well, they can, relate to you. They can engage if they see that you have a sense of humor. The third thing that I liked about your speech is the passion that you shared with us. You talk about helping people, not only trying to sell them something, but actually making sure that they are heard and you are helping them with their needs. And to finish my um, comment on your speech, I'm gonna say that I really liked your transition during the speech. For instance, you started with the personal, and then you went into your career, and then you finished telling us about why you're here with us in a Toastmaster club, right? And that's really awesome. I saw that pattern, right? You started with, like I said, an intro, then you went to the body, like about your background, and then you closed by telling us why you're here and what are you looking to do, by coming to this club. So overall, great speech. Thank you again, and looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Great job, Jorge. Yeah, I also want to echo the fact that these icebreakers are my favorite speeches. It is the first time we get to meet new members and have them introduce themselves as strangers. And that's the point of the reason why we come to a Toastmasters is the fear of speaking in public is really the fear of meeting and talking to strangers because they don't know us. And we don't know what they're going to think about us. And the judgment of them and how they think about us is what weighs on us. And so that's the fear. But once you get past the fear, once you break the ice, that becomes the road to friendship. So all of a sudden, all the anxiety and all the fear goes away because you know the person. You're like, it's Bas. I love Bas. So that's the reason why the icebreaker is so much fun for me is that it's the initiation. It's the transition from a stranger to a friend. So welcome, friend. Welcome to the club. We love having you here and look forward to all the speeches to come. So great job. All right, with that said, let us get back to our agenda for the evening. And this will be our transition time to table topics. So let's get Rajiv on the line for us. Rajiv. Are you there, Rajiv?
Yeah,
Can
I'm
we get
here.
Rajiv? Bear with me, Rajiv. I got to find you on the screen as usual.
Yeah, I'm
This
in
is
the
the
bright
one
green.
Achilles. This is the
Yeah,
one
bright
Achilles
green
heel for
background.
me. Is I got to find the folks on the screen. Are you
Gotcha.
there?
Yeah, that's me.
All right, Rajiv. So why don't you take it away, and we'll let you introduce your guests to us one at a time.
The names aren't clear in the pinned video tile.
Ah, yes. That's okay. Looks like we've got Bhavika first. So I will get Bhavika on the screen. And Rajiv, let's get you back on.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, is that, oh, what's the name? I'm not able to read it.
That is Bhavika.
Bhavika? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, hi. Welcome to the show. The question today is, when you think of freedom and equality, what comes to mind? What are your thoughts and comments on the subject?
Sure. So when I think of freedom and equality, I think of freedom as a component to equality, or equality being a gateway for freedom. When we think about why people want equality and why it's become such a big deal, is because individuals that feel like they aren't given the same opportunities as others feel restricted in what they can do every day. And so when we look at it from a world perspective, back in the days, starting from I don't know when, but the British had reign over a lot of countries, and a lot of countries where different cultures, different type of individuals were seeing that they were being controlled by a country or a institution that didn't know who they were, what they stood for. They wanted to have at least some control over what happens in the country that they're staying in and how things should work. And if they are different than how another institution feels about how they feel a country should be run, then they should let that happen, because we then can let different countries provide different perspectives. And because of that, we get to travel to different countries and see different cultures and see different values and experience different types of living situations, because people have been given the opportunity to do as they please. I think the same goes for gender or racial inequality. Individuals of color feel like they're restricted and they aren't given the same opportunities as white individuals. And so I think when you look at race and equality, you should think of equality being a gate for freedom. Thank you.
Wow. Those fireworks were amazing. So props to the production team for doing that. So thanks for that. And Bhavika, that was an amazing answer, very insightful answer. And I think that message should be shared with the world at large, because I think, there's this phrase that I heard a while ago about, I was complaining I didn't have shoes until I met someone that didn't have feet. So I think it's all about perspective, and I think what you shared is so insightful and it's so refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air. So I thank you for sharing that really insightful answer, and thanks for participating.
Thank you.
Cool. I think the next one is Rob. Can we have Rob on the screen? Yes, Rob. Rob is a Capricorn. And you want to add to that as far as some introduction, like long walks on the beach or anything?
Yeah, I love ice sculptures, long walks on the beach, and, really enjoying Fridays.
Nice. Nice, nice. Good answer, good answer. Love it, love it. The question being asked is, when you think of equality and freedom, what comes to mind?
Well, it's a pretty heavy question, Rajiv, and I, I really appreciate you considering our Friday word and then having such a massive topic to dive into. So I'm going to keep it light, and I'm going to focus just on freedom, just a little bit of freedom. And today, my wife and I, we had that. We went on a date for the first time since, I don't know, February, March even. It's been a while. Our kids are in camp in the park this week. And so during the day, we went and got a lunch together and without the kids. And it was incredible. It was just so nice to have that little bit of freedom. And, you know, I don't drink during the day too often, but I was like, oh, it's Friday. And I saw a Negroni on the menu and I was like, I'll take one of those. And it was fantastic. It had this spritz of orange. You guys could just like smell that, and then the Campari, and I hadn't had a cocktail probably since March, and it was so nice. You know, we have wine and beer, but to actually have a cocktail that was made, and it was incredible. So, you know, there's those little bits of freedom, and especially now during this time with quarantine and everything, and just, you know, being cooped up at home and not having a lot of freedom, that little bit of it today was incredible. So thank you, Rajiv.
Wow, the fireworks are just getting better and bigger, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, thank you for that, Rob. That was an amazing answer. I think that, you know, all of us need to enjoy the little things. And I think it's those little things that really increase in significance as time moves forward. Because then you think back at those little things and how they might have seemed little back then, but in retrospect, they seem a lot bigger because situations have changed and evolved. And you bring up an excellent point of appreciating the small things. And I loved how you gave so much visceral detail of those beautiful liquids that you consume. That's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
To the extent that you motivated me to like pick up a drink, and I don't know, I'll take you up on that during happy hour. So
yeah, let's do that. Thanks.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks, Rob. And who do we have next? We have Alex. And can we have Alex on the screen?
Happy Friday. Friday, exactly. Happy Friday. Where am I? Here I am.
No. Actually, you just say Friday. You don't say Happy Friday. You just say Friday. Yeah.
Rhymes with Yippee Kaye. Happy Friday. All
right. I like where you're going, Alex. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So Alex is a Virgo. So Virgos are like these deep thinkers and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a Leo, Virgo kind of cusp kind of thing. I don't really know that stuff, but I'm more of a non-astrologist. But hey, you know.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for volunteering to be on this show. The question of the day is, when you think of equality and freedom, what comes to mind?
Actually, this is an excellent question. I really appreciate the question because when I think of equality and freedom, I think of a man by the name of Dr. Viktor Frankl, who wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And in the book on Man's Search for Meaning, he talks about how in the US, and we have the Statue of Liberty, which is in New York City, right? So here we have this statue for freedom. And freedom is great. Equality is great. But he suggested on the West Coast in San Fran that we have the Statue of Responsibility. Because how can you have freedom and equality in a country, in a life, in a relationship, unless you have responsibility? I'm thinking of the mask debates. Everyone says, well, it's my right, I'm not. Well, in fact, yes, there is a right, but there is also a responsibility. We have so many people who could be so sick by what people do, and we see that the notion of freedom is great, but there can be no equality, as Bhavika said. There can be no real freedom unless there's responsibility, and that's racial responsibility, right? I'm a man of a certain color, a certain age, whatever, and in the past, maybe I haven't understood so much, but with taking responsibility for my actions, my thinking, and also trying to understand some of the responsibility from the past. Maybe to get there, if I have this responsibility, I'll be able to have real freedom and real equality. I thank you so much. Back to you.
Wow, that was an amazing answer, Alex. That was amazing. You certainly didn't disappoint. So thank you for that, Alex. In fact, what you said brings to mind the deep and immortal words of Stan Lee that says, who said, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think you epitomized that idea so well in your response. And you are absolutely right. We do take certain freedoms for granted, and we do act sometimes without thinking. And perhaps we should take a moment to think and understand what it means to use those freedoms and what are the implications, and understand the cause and effect. So, Alex, I think you gave an amazing response. And it's so, all the responses on the show have been so thought provoking and profound. So, thank you for that, Alex. And our next participant is Annie. Can we have Annie? Hi, Annie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Rajiv.
Annie is a Taurus. Taurus are famous for being extremely hardworking, very focused on what they want, and having an appreciation for the finer things in life. Care to add to that?
I think that pretty much.
Awesome, awesome. Annie, the question of the hour is, when we talk about freedom or equality, what comes to mind?
Well, Rajiv, thank you for picking such a thought-provoking question. It's a hard one to address in 2 minutes. But I think my thoughts on the topic are pretty adjacent to what Alex just talked about. When I think of freedom initially, I tend to think of a freedom of action or freedom of self-determination. So doing and saying, moving around in a way that you want. But I think the bookend of that kind of freedom is liberty, and that's a liberty from things. So liberty from oppression, liberty from other people's freedom, basically imposing on your own. And I think that it's that aspect of freedom, that liberty, that is essential to real equality, because we can't have equality unless the freedoms of one person are prevented from imposing on the freedoms of another person. That's actually pretty easy to say, and it's a very hard thing to achieve. Things as simple as one person wanting to play their music loud at night and another person wanting to have a good night's sleep. Those kinds of simple questions become very difficult when looked at in the light of freedom, and they're very important to look at because, as the example Alex used with masks, they can scale up very quickly, so that the ramifications from a good night's sleep to public health, that kind of scale increases very quickly with the question of freedom and liberty and equality. So I think it's something that always needs to be in our consciousness, and it's part of being a responsible member of society.
Wow, 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 wow. The fireworks, I think, changed in response to your amazing answer, Annie. Thank you so much for that. You brought up such thought-provoking points. Yes, freedom, and then appreciating what liberty is and what liberty stands for, and that liberty was achieved as a consequence of some action, and what life was like prior to that liberty. So I mean, it's beautiful what you said, Annie, because we need to appreciate what we have before we start thinking or getting frustrated about what we don't have. And I think I think that alone is just so compelling. And if more people took the time to consider that, I think the world might go in like a slightly different direction. So um, again, I thank you for that amazing response. And you're right, it is a very broad uh, subject, but I think what you kind of chose to answer was extremely special and very thought provoking. So thank you for that, Annie. It was amazing.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Our next participant is Linda. Can we have Linda Green? Okay, hi Linda, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
Linda is a Sagittarius. Sagittarius are known as the travelers, the experience seekers. They sometimes are viewed as being restless, always on the move, generally very fun people to be around, very lively. Care to add to that, Linda?
Sometimes we can be opinionated. we have opinions about lots of things. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts and my opinion about. And so, as the definitions of freedom and equality, right? So freedom is the power or the right to act or think as someone wants without hindrance or restraint. Equality is the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. And so when I think of concepts in regards to the American educational system, for which I was a part of for 30 years, I think about the fact that the American educational system has inequities, right? It's not equal. That there are communities and schools in this country that students and parents and principals and teachers do not have the same opportunities. Why? Based on the way the laws in terms of budgeting schools and funding schools, based on neighborhoods and communities and tax revenue. I look at this as a way that we need to rethink the system in terms of equity in education and how we fund it. I think that the school should have about the same amount of revenue so that children can have the same opportunity and resources. The word freedom, when it comes to me, when I think about it in terms of schools, I'm thinking about it in terms of how the teachers and the school leaders don't have the freedom to really speak and even to address the needs of their students. A lot of them are really afraid of their jobs if they speak out in opposition. So there's really a lot of restraint in our American system. I think that we need to kind of think about the system and try to revamp it in a way that all children can have access and equity in our system. And have a great Friday.
Wow, Linda, that was That was an amazing response. And you bring up a very, very important point because the outside world thinks, when they think of America, the educational system, yes, they think of Harvard and Stanford and Yale and the Ivy Leagues and think that everything is very hunky dory. But in fact, when we actually go down to grassroots, the situation can be quite different. And it also is about perspectives. And if you're lucky enough to be in a great school district, then yeah, you have a great school and a lot of facilities. But then the flip side of that is if you're not in a, let's say, a preferred zip code, then unfortunately that has certain things like that means not having access to maybe after school programs or things like that, all of which are critical to the development of our children. I personally believe that the children are our future. And if we want a better future, we need to invest heavily, heavily into our children because they are the ideals that they grew up with is then going to influence their thoughts and actions, which in turn is going to influence the world that they come into and the world that they propagate. In fact, my nonprofit right now is focused on that. We help kids embrace the concept of dreaming so that they can have a clarity of what their purpose is and then have access to resources to pursue those goals until fruition. So what you said resonated with me so much, and thank you so much for that amazing, thought-provoking, passionate response.
Thank you for coming up with that.
Our next participant is Sanjay. Can we have Sanjay on the screen? Okay, awesome. Hi, Sanjay. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Rajiv.
Sanjay is a Capricorn. Capricorn are known as being very process-oriented, highly organized, tend to be emotional, but people don't know about that, and they kind of hide it a little bit. I know this, my bro is a Capricorn, so I kind of have a little bit of insight there. Care to add to that?
No, that's actually pretty dead on. That's exactly me.
Gotcha. Thanks, Sanjay. So the question of the hour is, when it comes to equality and freedom, what comes to mind?
Yeah, great question. Great question, Rajiv. Thanks for suggesting it. Very thought-provoking and very heavy subject, I guess, but in a good way. Very important subject. So, when I think about what makes this country great, freedom is one of the things that definitely comes to mind. There's other countries in the world where you can't necessarily express your point of view or your political beliefs if they're, at odds with the reigning power, or, you can't live your life in the way that's true to yourself if it doesn't align with what the government supports as the right way to live your life. So I think that having a country that supports freedom and our ability to live and express ourselves in the way that's true to ourselves is one of the things that makes this a strong country in some of its values. Like some other people have mentioned, I think that we get into some trouble sometimes with our value on freedom and the boundaries that kind of invisible boundaries that surround that. So when we think about things like people doing things that place others in danger, or expressing themselves in a way that offends or is hateful towards other people, that's kind of an invisible boundary on freedom that it's not just about our being true to ourselves and being authentic, but it's infringing on someone else's freedoms to live their life in the way that's true to them. So, I think that's a really big value for our country, but I think there's maybe an invisible danger there that we have to strike a balance between freedom and respecting other people's freedom. And similar to what other people said, to kind of reframe our country's way of looking at freedom in a way that's not just good for us, but good for everyone around us as well.
Wow, Sanjay, wow, that was an amazing response. So insightful, so deep, so profound. Uh, you're absolutely right. And you know, this is a very interesting subject, very because you could kind of see it both ways. You know, somebody's freedom is the free to be or the free to do, which could, like you very rightly pointed out, completely overlap or conflict with somebody else's free to be and free to do, and you know, free to say and think and all of that. And it is one of those things as to how do we strike that balance. And perhaps maybe technology could potentially solve this, you know, with the advent of AR and VR. Maybe AR and VR could be some mechanism where people could be whoever they want to be, and they can do that without necessarily infringing on somebody else's experience of life. And maybe that's something that potentially could have, you know, a solution to this very complex concept. So I mean, thank you for bringing that, the complexity of this very important situation to life. And you've given everyone a lot to think about, and I think a lot to be grateful for, as far as the beautiful country that we live in. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Rajiv. Thanks, everyone.
So, okay, I think we have some signups, some new signups. I'm going to look at the sheet. Next is Cailley. Can we have Cailley on the screen? Cailley hey Cailley. Cailley is a Cancer. Cancers are known as very sensitive, highly emotional, very loyal, very protective of their friends and relationships, and invest heavily in those relationships. Care to add to that?
No, but I'm super impressed with all your knowledge of astrology. I feel like maybe, do you like tell fortunes on the side? Is that your side gig? You have one of those little like red velvet tables like out on the sidewalk where you're flipping tarot cards? You're so knowledgeable.
Maybe I should start that, yeah.
You should, maybe. You should. And thanks for being the table topic master this evening, Rajiv.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the question of the hour is, Cailley, when it comes to freedom and equality, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rajiv. I think I'm thinking of this topic a little bit more from a personal standpoint and what freedom means to me. I feel like looking back on my life, especially when I look back to like my college years, I think about how urgently I was trying to get more free. I had that feeling. I was trying to get more free from my parents. I was trying to get free from societal expectations. I was trying to get free even from my womanhood. I'm not a traditionally very feminine person, and I went to a college that was very progressive, very much, most of us were raging feminists. So at the end of my freshman year, I had really long hair, and I went to the hairdresser, and I must have told her, give me the like 45-year-old soccer mom look, because I came out with super short, spiky hair. And around the same time, I'd pierced my nose, and I was like growing out my armpit hair. And I was just really, I felt like every part of me was just trying to get free from things that I had felt growing up that I wasn't able to express, and I wasn't able to feel free, especially as a woman, especially from my parents who were cognitive behavioral therapists, who somehow really taught me to repress a lot of emotions. And so as I got older, the thing that I wanted more than anything, and I don't think I could have articulated this at that point, but I can articulate it now, is I wanted freedom from being held captive by my emotions. I wanted to understand them and be master of them more than oppressed, and more than feeling, I just felt really untethered a lot emotionally. And so as I got older, the thing that I feel and continue to feel, even at my age now, is that I just want to get more free in every respect. And I think Toastmasters is a huge way of doing that, and a huge way of watching others get more free. The ability to express as I watch people do that on screen, I see that as an expression of them getting more free. And I think I want that too. And I know that we're doing that for each other in these meetings and in these moments. So I appreciate the question, Rajiv, and I thank you all for answering with such thoughtful answers. And thank you.
Wow, 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 wow.
Am I a Cancer or what? Am I a Cancer or what?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. In fact, hats off to you, Cailley, for a number of things. One is, first of all, having the courage to share something so personal. Second, about the courage to be vulnerable in this and to share some of these things which I'm sure were weighing on your heart and mind for some time. Uh, and it takes a lot of courage to get this off your chest, and hopefully the experience of speaking about it has a therapeutic effect on you. And I think there's a lot of what you said people can relate to, because everyone knows repression in or oppression in some way, shape, or form. Like, for example, like I wanted to do several things growing up, but parents always said, no, no, no. Are you crazy? Forget about it. No. And now these are things that I now want to do after I've grown up, some of which just don't make any sense. But because it was just timely for that time in my life, now not so much. But I totally get what you're saying as far as like the rebel, and it's curious as to how certain people from certain countries, when they come to the US is like this breath of fresh air for them to truly express themselves as freedom. Where I've seen, I think, I don't mean to generalize, but I've noticed this a lot, like on the subway, riding the subway, that I see some, I think it's maybe Korean people, I think, or Chinese, maybe Japanese too, where I see some of them with, like blue hair or tints of blue in their hair. I mean, they look amazing. But I think this is something that is perhaps, unfortunately, not possible in Tokyo or Hokkaido, places like that, where it's very, the culture there is something that does not per se allow for that kind of expression because of how it is.
Yeah,
And
we should all feel so lucky to be in this country, right? Because even as oppressed as we may feel, as unfree as we may feel in comparison, I mean, there's just no comparison, right? So lucky to be in a country that's afforded us so many rights and freedoms. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like you said about like the piercing the nose and everything, I think we've also made significant strides in people at the workplace, even in financial services, which previously was very like straitjacketed, where now I see people with piercings and tats and hair color in professional attire. And I think we've come a long way. So, like, hats off for mentioning it.
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cailley. And our next participant is Jorge. Jorge hasn't mentioned his zodiac sign. Is it a mystery? But care to share with us what it is?
It's Leo.
Okay, nice. Leo are the leaders. They are bold. They are the center of the party. People love to hang with them. People are drawn to them because of their magnetic personality. They also tend to be slightly emotional and sensitive on certain issues and can sometimes be hurt pretty fast. So you need to kind of watch what you say to a Leo, because sometimes it could be misconstrued. But generally, they're known for their generosity, large hearts, and warm personalities. Care to add to that?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, at least that's how I feel inside, even though sometimes I doubt I have like the leader skills or the being bold attitude. But yeah, pretty accurate.
Awesome. Thank you. So I think my side business that Cailley suggested might have a future.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, Jorge, the question of the hour is when it comes to freedom and equality, what does that mean to you?
Right. So this is a great question, and you can answer it in many ways. But I'm gonna give my opinion on something that I've been hearing, and it's about responsibility, right? First, you have the power over your actions. You have the power over your behavior. So freedom, it doesn't mean that you get to do anything you want. You get to do whatever you want or anytime you want. Freedom means taking the power to act in the best interest for yourself, in the best interest for your family, and in the best interest for society. So I want to touch a little bit on yourself, like the best interest on yourself or for yourself. I used to blame myself for being a certain way. Like for instance, you said, or my sign, you know, says that I'm this or I'm that, and I used to think, oh, I'm not any of that. But I have the power to change that, right? Just because I don't feel it now, or I didn't feel it then, it doesn't mean that I cannot change it. So I have the power to change that. And going back to your family, you have to take responsibility that there is other people in your family that need you. There is other people in your family that are looking up to you, either your brothers, younger brothers, older siblings, whatever. So you have the responsibility and you have the freedom to control your actions and be a role model, if you will. And to close, society. I think we all share this human spirit, this common, what do you call this, common aspect. So we should be, respectful of everyone around us, and we should, support each other. Especially now with this crisis that's going on with the virus and everything, we should be helping out each other more than ever before. So that's my opinion on freedom. And thank you very much for the time, for the opportunity.
Wow, 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 Jorge, that was an amazing, amazing response. Thank you for that. Like Cailley, I commend you for having the courage to speak about something personal and being vulnerable, in front of an open stage like this, a full house. So I commend you for, of unleashing the beast within, unleashing the lion that I see in you because you are a lion. And so, see, you're already making, progress. You're taking action, and I think what you said about taking action is so true for today. Because yes, we can complain and we can whine and we can cringe and all of that, but when we take action, we actually were trying. We might win, we might not win, but we tried. Because there's this one phrase that somebody told me, which is, do you know the one thing, what that one thing is that's worse than defeat? It's regret. And regret means not even trying. And you'll never know what could have happened because you didn't even try. But you bring up an excellent point of taking action, seizing the moment, being the lion, taking charge. And I see all of that in you. I see that the fire in your eyes. And I know that if given a chance, when you take more action like this, including volunteering for table topics, the line is going to come out more and more and more. And as soon, I know very soon, you're going to start roaring like a lion, super loud, and everyone is going to know that Jorge is the lion. So Jorge, thank you for that. That was an amazing answer, and I hope that you volunteer for the next table topics as well.
All right. Thanks, Arjit. Thanks for your words.
I think I think we're at the end of table topics. Do we have time for any volunteers, or are we at the end?
I think we're at the end, Rajiv. And for those of you who have been here before, you all know that we like to vote for our best table topics. So, Sean, if you wouldn't mind putting that chat link in the chat channel, click that to vote for your favorite table topic. And I'm not sure that form's going to be accurate because of the looks like we had some glitches with the sign up form. So somebody will have to clue me in as to whether the last couple names might be off. And for those of you who, if you did sign up and got replaced somehow as a glitch, we apologize for that. So we're still working out the kinks, as we say. But somebody let me know if the form's okay. But take a look, vote for your favorite table topic, and as always, the winner gets highlighted in Cailley's gift-tastic email.
Yeah, and the form looks good, Henry. It looks like we've got the right names in the right spots.
Perfect. Okay, so while you guys are doing your voting, let's turn this over to our end of meeting reports. So we have as our grammarian for the evening, D. Let's get D on the line. Let me find D, put her on the camera for us. D, are you there by chance? Did we lose
I am.
D?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think you might be just out of camera though, so if you can center yourself and then take it away for our grammarian report.
Can you see me or not?
You're
Yes?
you're off the camera a little bit, D.
Now?
That's
now
better.
you see me better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, perfect. The reports. By the way, Sean, you thought I wasn't doing the reports because you didn't see them online, but I prefer to do them on paper. That way I knew I could look back really fast without disturbing anything. So let's begin with Alex. Alex did the word of the day once, and then when he came back, did the word of the day again. Great, Alex. It was your word, wasn't it? Was it? Is Alex there?
Oh. I'm not sure Alex
I think
there.
it was Rajiv's word, but yeah.
Oh.
he's shaking his head at you, but I think maybe you can't see him.
Oh, who came up with Friday?
It was Rajiv.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know why I got it wrong. So sorry.
Well, because I was a Friday enthusiast.
Okay, got that. All right. The next one was Devika. And she's gone, isn't she?
Just left.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say that, yes, maybe she did a lot of ums, and you know, but she did a good job of the others. It's not everything that's an issue. And the person I wanted to say, oh, it was Bhavika. Is Bhavika still here?
She's not. She had to step away as well.
Okay, it's two different people. Okay. Bhavika was the epitome of not doing the filler words because she paused every time a filler word was right there. She would not say it, and she went right on. She did say so once, but it was not as a filler. It was as a conjunction. Now, who is next here? I don't have people in order. I do have Jorge next. Jorge, you had one and one you know. And the way you used like was not the way people use like as a filler word, but you said it was like something instead of it was about this or approximately. So it was still, it's okay to use it, just not as a filler. The next one was, oh, Rajiv. Okay, well, you spoke a lot. So you had many opportunities to use fillers. So you had more than 5 ums and more than 5, not more than 5, 3 okays. 1 so, 3 you knows, and a like that was the way you're not supposed to use like, and a like as a filler word. You also did, of course, the fraye, which was now I find out was yours in the first place. Rob. Rob, you had two ahums, and one so, two you knows. And here I have something about, oh, I know, it was well. You said well as a filler word, and that's okay too, but not often. So you did use it once, well. Emily was not on, was she not on? Because I saw her name on the chart and I didn't hear her at all.
Yeah, we may have had a glitch with Emily, unfortunately.
Got it.
Hello, I decided not to participate in the table topics.
Oh, I see, but you're here, huh?
Yes, I am.
Well, good job anyway.
Thank you.
And now the next one is, ooh. Oh, Henry, I'm not supposed to be counting yours, am I?
I'll take them if you got them.
Because more often than not, you never use filler words. But this time, I heard you use 3 R's once, and then another time you use 1 R, which is so unlike you. I'm not sure what made the difference this time. Then, Cailley, you had 2 ums and 4 you knows in your normal speaking, and you have a lot of speaking to do. And the speaking that you do, I do admire very much because you're very good at knitting the whole thing together. When anyone speaks, you take what they said and knit it into the next thing, and it keeps the meeting going beautifully. It's a broadcast thing to do, and I love it. When you did table topics, you had 2 ums, which is, I suppose it's no wonder that we do ums when we're doing table topics because we're still thinking on our feet. So that was 2. Then Annie did 2 ums and 1 so. Linda, you had more than 5 ums. And I don't know what this one, oh, I see. Did you do word of the day maybe? I think so. Did Linda do word of the day?
Yes.
Okay, yes, because I wrote that down for you. Good job. And the last one I have here is Sanjay with 4 ums, 2 so's, 2 you knows. And that looks like it for me. I do want to point out that very often some of the filler words are not used as fillers. And if they're not used as fillers, I do not count them. So in case you heard stuff that sounded like fillers and you didn't hear the count of it, that's why. Okay? I think you all did a wonderful job. Looks so to me. And everybody seems to be getting better, better, and better every week. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Great job there. And yes, we are all in the process of learning this. So I think that, with Dee and writing it down on pieces of paper, that's great. But I think we all want to try to get to a place where we're doing this on the computer. And the other thing, Dee, just FYI, again, your camera is not centered on you. So when you're in the picture, we only got a bit of your head. So just something to think about. And look, that's also the reason why we're doing this. It's a new medium. We have to all learn how to be in the middle of the camera and how to get used to this new technology. So I appreciate it, Dee. Thanks for being our grammarian. Look forward to taking on other roles in the future. Thanks for that.
My pleasure. And I used to do this a lot at IBM, actually, on camera.
Well, that's not
the same thing. No, well, yeah, but it's not the same thing when you have to set up your own camera on your computer and make sure your face is in the right place and it doesn't look like a pudding pan because you're too near to it. That's totally different.
And that is the exact point. Yes, it is something we all have to practice.
Okay.
All right, with that being said, then let me get Annie on the screen. Annie, are you there? Let's find Annie. And there she is. Annie, why don't you take it away for us?
Thanks, Henry. So everybody did a pretty good job of staying in the ballpark of the time limits today. Starting off, Alex was at 4:42 for his second speech. Devika was at 2:33 out of 3 minutes. Bas was at 4:19 out of 4 minutes. Jorge was at 2:45 out of 3 minutes. Bhavika was at 2:15 out of 2 minutes. Rob was at 1:50. Alex was at 1:55.
Bingo!
I tied with Alex at 1:55.
Bingo!
Linda, 2:19. Sanjay was at 2:23. Cailley was at 2:12. And Jorge at 2:40.
Thank you for that, Annie. And
May I please interrupt here very quickly? I realize I didn't say anything about Baz. The reason is that Baz was blank. That means it was perfect. Thank you, Baz. You had none, no filler words.
Thank you for that, Dee. And so, yeah, I think we're still trying to get all the kinks out. I think we're really close tonight. We had some kinks here or there. But let me take this minute before we wrap up our show tonight to kind of give you my thoughts. As I said, this is the first time we've had all the roles filled beforehand, which really in my mind is the first time that we can all say, this is what the show we intended to be is. And for those of you who know me in our personal clubs, I always talk about this as if we're all kind of singing a song in a concert. What we're really trying to do is to put on a show. And for those of you who are musicians or fans of music, rock fans like I am, if you go to a concert, the whole point of going to the concert is feeling like you're enjoying the show with the audience, and that there's a flow and a harmony and a synchronicity to it all. So that's where we're at now. I feel like we have our show. We have our set list. We have the songs that we want to play. And from here on out, every week is about putting on a concert. And our goal is to try to put on as perfect a concert as possible. But like all bands and all shows, we're going to make a little mistake here or there. We're going to hit the wrong notes. We're going to play a song out of order. Things that get thrown on stage that interrupt us, or things are going to happen that throw us off kilter. So that's all part of where we're at now. But for the next evolution of the New Voice Live, this is about putting on a show. So I want to congratulate you all for the first show that we put on fully since we've all been on lockdown. So for me, as I said, this is a big moment for us. It's a big moment for New Voice Live, and I wanted just to say thank you all for that. And to make sure that we all understand from here on out, it's about trying to get rid of all the little nits and errors that we all have. That's why we do the Grammarian filler word count. It is my nemesis, as much as Dee says it's not, it really is. The other part about the times, for me, for a while, I wasn't really appreciative of what the timing really meant. But as I've gotten more into this and heard some really good speakers out there who do table topics and do other kinds of impromptu speaking, what changed my mind was when I met somebody that was pulled off stage at one point in time. And the goal was for him to say, look, we're not going to even time you. We want you to get as close to 2 minutes, or I can't remember what the time was, but get to as close to the time limit we give you as possible. He was so practiced that without a time, he gave a speech where at the very end, his last word was at the end 2 minute mark. He knew exactly how much time was going on, despite the fact he was giving me a speech that sounded like it was completely impromptu. And that's really kind of the goal, is that We want to get to a place where it feels so smooth, so rehearsed that no one knows that we've put all this hard work into it, and it feels natural. And that's why I always throw in the little trip-ups, the word of the day, the timer, the grammarian, all these things that make it a little more difficult to reach that perfect show. So that's the goal from here on out. Now that we've got the slots filled, the roles filled, it's to put on a perfect show every week. And that means you all have to join in, sign up for those roles, make sure that we have a full show. A couple things with regarding the show too. So if you do sign up, please stick to the show. Don't, we understand last minute cancellations happen. We understand things change. But if you do sign up, please make sure that you try to make a commitment to be there. And the other part, when you do sign up, take that as a challenge to make that role special. Because that's the other part. This now is a show with all of us all contributing something different. Rajiv contributed his own personal talents and perspectives on table topics. So every one of you has the opportunity to take on a role and make it your own. And that's how we make this show special and different every week. Okay, with that said, I want to again say thank you. If there's anybody that in the audience that has a question or anything about that, we ask you to stay for after hours. Go grab your favorite cocktail, come check in. If you got questions about membership, we can answer those questions then. Oh, and one last thing. We are communicating via email to everybody, and we understand a lot of folks are getting their email sent to spam. So make sure you check your spam boxes. That's how we're giving you all your audience feedback. All the communications that Cailley puts together are via email. So always check your spam as ways to get the information from us. And with that said, did we have any latecomer guests that we wanted to introduce or anything like that, Cailley or Sean?
I just want to say hi to Bhavika, who's a new member of ours.
Yes.
Bhavika, are you there? If Bhavika is
I'm
there,
here.
I'd love to see your face.
We definitely have to say hello to Bhavika.
Abubakar, you are so committed to this. I saw you trying to get in a couple different times tonight. I know we had some connection issues, so I super appreciate you being here. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And yourself?
I'm well. We're so excited to have you be a new member, and I know that you want to give your icebreaker soon. Have you been thinking about that?
Yeah, maybe in the next week or so.
Excellent.
Maybe, yeah.
I think we'll change that maybe into a yes. I think we can do that.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
It's great seeing you. And thanks for your membership. And we'll see you next week as well. You coming next week?
Yes, of course.
Excellent. Love it. Well, you're joined by 2 other new members. We had 2 other folks sign up in this past week as well. So again, thank you, Abubakar. Thank you, Dulce. And thank you, Sanjay. To just wrap out what Henry was saying, I just wanted to add, I'm going to put the sign up form in the chat right now. So all of our members, please do sign up for the roles. We have next week's table topic slot is open. So if you were super inspired by the really great spin that Rajiv put on the role of table topic master tonight, please do the same for us next week. We need folks to sign up for these roles. It looks like 2 weeks from now, we also need an evaluator and a timer and a grammarian. So I'm putting that in the chat now. We'd love to get these roles filled so that we can go ahead into the next 2 or 3 weeks here, knowing that you're going to be there in the role, that you're ready, and that we can really frame these meetings around you all running this with us. That's the point we want to get to. As Henry said, you all are running these shows with us now, and so we appreciate your participation in that. Other than that, I think we said hello to everyone. Janie, hi. Actually, Janie, I didn't get to say hi to. How are you? Another someone we're hoping to have as a member soon. Janie, you might be on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
How are you?
Good. I'm good. Thank you.
It's good to see you. You've got your house in your background again. I imagine that house looks a little more summery-like right now.
Yeah, it's making me feel cool. Yeah.
That's great. Well, if you have any questions about membership, do stay after for after hours. We'd love to talk to you more.
Yeah.
But it's great seeing you.
I never saw Kat for a while.
Kat, are you
Yeah,
on the
I
call?
see her now.
I might have just heard her. Kat, are you there?
Kat, yeah, Kat should be there. And Eula too. I haven't seen Eula before.
Oh, Eula. Eula's been here a couple times. It's good to see
know,
you, Eula.
but she's so quiet. I never heard Eula. Hi, Eula.
You should come to the after hours with her. Eula's always talking about
All
the
right.
storm there.
Well, I'm gonna have a great. I'm gonna have a great chinwag then. That's it.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I think we said hi. Oh, Kat says hi in the chat. Kat, are you able to come off mute just so we can say hello to you?
She's not even. She's
Maybe
not
not.
even moving.
That's okay. No problem. So I think with that, we'll head into after hours, unless there's any question from anyone at the moment. But, you know, after hours is a moment for us to sort of let our hair down, talk a little more informally, and we can answer any questions you all have about meetings going forward as well.
I love after hours, but I'm not going to be able to stay to it today. But thank you so much.
Oh no,
Great
I wanted
meeting.
to discuss grammar with you.
Well, thank you for that then. And I think I'll use that as a chance to wrap up tonight's show for the week. Again, thank you all. And one last plea for you all to get in those roles. I know that as we get more and more members, the speaking slots are going to fill up more quickly. That's what we want. We want that time that we have on stage to be valuable. We want it to be difficult to get a speaking slot, which means that we've got a lot of people who have an interest in speaking. But it also means there are other opportunities, which are the roles. So these roles are out there for everybody to take on. Make it your own. That's what they're there for. They don't have to be. They don't have to be the same roles over and over. You just have to give the same information, but you can make it your own. So sign up for those roles. Okay. With that said, we'll wrap it up. We'll see you on the other side in after hours. Thanks for coming. And again, if you want to check out the live stream, it's on our YouTube channel. That's also in our emails, and we'll share that in the chat link as well. So we'll see you all in after hours and next week.